So I'm having a really bad allergy episode right now, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna make this work. We're gonna make it happen. Hello everyone and welcome to a new Cosplay Storytime. Today I thought I would share a very stupid story involving much stupidity on my part. This is the time that my cosplay shoes just decide to betray me, just straight up. Still salty about it. Before I start today's video, however, I do want to quickly mention that I am doing a charity t-shirt campaign right now. I have this old school PC inspired Cosplays for Everyone design, and it is available as both shirts and stickers, and it comes in a variety of fun colors, and 100% of the profits will be donated to Black Lives Matter. If t-shirts and stickers aren't your thing, I will also have a direct donation link to Black Lives Matter. Like a lot of people are saying, this is not just a moment, this is a movement, and it's really important to do anything you can to contribute, whether that means donating money, signing petitions, spreading important information, and educating yourself and others. It's just really important not to stay idle, not to stay silent, and to help in whatever way that you can. So again, if you guys are interested in that, I will have links down in the description, and yeah. Today's Cosplay Storytime I thought would be a good little just funny story to share with you guys, because it involves, like I said, so much stupidity on my part, and just this was one that I wasn't going to share because I didn't think that it really warranted a full video, but then I thought back to it and thought back to just the image of it and was like, so many people will find this funny, I should share it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So this story took place back at Fan Expo Vancouver this year, which I didn't know at the time, but it would be my only convention for this year. And this was on the first day of the convention when I was cosplaying Charlie. The thing about this day was that I was so off my game and it felt like nothing really kind of connected for me on that day. My anxiety was through the roof, which I think happens a lot. This was my first convention of the year. And so when you haven't been to a convention for, 6+ months, I think it is kind of normal for a lot of people to kind of be off their game. I don't know, the first day of your first convention of the year can involve really having to get used to going to conventions again, even though, you've done it before. Throwing yourself back into it sometimes maybe takes a little bit to get the hang of, I guess, if I'm making sense. So I think I had to basically get back into the groove of like what wearing a cosplay feels like and what being in such a huge crowd of people feels like, and being in, I was very overwhelmed with how many people were in that convention space. So I think a lot of it was just getting used to it, and my anxiety just decided to throw me for an absolute loop. So it was a time, but I managed to get ready. I managed to get into my Charlie makeup, which obviously is a bit of an undertaking, and I figure out which bus I'm going to catch, and I grab the shoes that I'm going to wear. The thing about Charlie and I, we have so many things in common, which is why I love her so much. But one thing we do not have in common is our heights. She is much taller than I am. I am definitely closer to Vaggy's height. So whenever I cosplay her, I have to wear really like chunky shoes so I get that nice height. So I chose this pair of boots that I've worn for my military lapis cosplay. I've worn for a bunch of different fashion looks, and these are always my go-to comfy boots. I've been able to wear these to conventions, walk on pavement for hours and hours for entire con days basically, and I haven't had any problems with them. So I know these as being my comfy boots. So obviously those were the ones that I went for Charlie because they looked accurate enough and they were going to give me that nice height that I need for her and just have the right look and everything. So I grabbed those while I'm packing my bag before heading out to catch the bus. I'm thinking like,
should I bring an extra pair of shoes just as like comfier shoes? But then I'm like, no, these are my comfy boots. I've been able to wear these for hours upon hours upon hours, entire con days without any issues. Like, this is gonna be fine.
It was not fine. There was that, and there was also the fact that I had so much stuff in my bag that I didn't want to worry about having to slip another pair of shoes in there. This was a very stupid decision. I head out the door to go catch my bus, and while I'm walking to catch my bus, I feel that my feet don't feel so great. But at that stage, when you're going to catch the bus, like, I'm already there, I don't have enough time to go back, and the next bus doesn't come for like half an hour to 45 minutes. So I'm like, well, I'm here, and I guess I just have to deal with it, and hopefully it will be fine, but I know deep down that it's not going to be fine, because if you're wearing shoes and they already hurt right off the bat, like, things are not going to improve. But like, at that stage, there was no going back, I guess. So I get on the bus, I get on the train, I arrive at the convention, I'm super, super overwhelmed, and it also, doesn't help that I'm super uncomfortable in these shoes. And of course, the thing with Charlie is that it also involves like wearing gloves, wearing body paint, and so it's a cosplay that you really have to kind of be like on the ball for, you kind of have to really make sure that everything else is comfortable and you're kind of in the right headspace. And I was So totally was not. I was so overwhelmed. I was trying to talk to people and I was just like, the anxiety through the roof. It was not good. I was not feeling it. It was not a good time. But I met up with my friend who was cosplaying Blitz and we did manage to have a really good time. And they managed to help calm me down a little bit, as did all of my friends. But so much of the convention, I was like, this is too much for me. We get to the end of the day and the plan for after the convention was to go and see Shrek the Musical, which if you're wondering was amazing. So good. Like best post-con activity ever. There was a little group of us that were all going to go see Shrek. So we go to change and my game plan for my musical getup was to take off my wig, take off my makeup, put on a t-shirt, put on this BuzzFeed Unsolved sweater because, you know, I live in this sweater basically, and just to keep my Charlie shoes and pants on, which when I was planning that all out seemed like a really good idea, but little did I know my comfy shoes were going to betray me for that day, which obviously not ideal. So we transit over to where the theater is and there was a little bit of a walk between the train and the theater. And to get out of the station, we had to go down this huge flight of stairs. And so my friend sees me like trying to hobble down this flight of stairs and is immediately like, I need to hold your hand to help you get down here. And I stop halfway through and I'm like, this is really in character for like who we're cosplaying tomorrow, because they were going to be cosplaying Alistair and I was going to be cosplaying Charlie again. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Charlie, why did you do this to yourself? It was so funny. Oh, so stupid. I love it. So we go, we see Shrek. It's amazing. At the end of the show, they had everybody sing along to All Star while the cast was on stage. And I feel like I just ascended. I feel like that was just such a spiritual experience, getting to sing All Star in a big group of people with the cast of Shrek the Musical. Like, it was a beautiful experience. I loved it. So we get out of the show, and at this stage it's about 10:30ish, 11, around that point. It's late, basically. So I figure out my transit home, and I part ways with my friends, and I go to catch my bus. Transit over to the bus stop the app told me to go to. But as it would happen, the bus that I was supposed to catch ended up leaving earlier than when Google Maps told me it would arrive. So I was there on time according to what the app originally told me, but the bus had already left. And I was like, this is great, I love this. So I figured out a different way home. It was gonna be a later departure, so I had to wait around for this other bus. I get on there, and then I get off, and then I look to see when my connecting bus is gonna come by. And it turns out that the connecting bus didn't come for like another 40 minutes. But it's a 20-minute walk between where I was and my house. And I'm standing there and it's like almost midnight at this point, and I'm just like, of course, this is what is happening. Obviously, at this stage, it's almost midnight. I have this really heavy bag full of cosplay stuff. It has my camera, it has all this convention stuff in it, really heavy. The cuffs on my pants, I just hand sew them on because I use those pants for other things. They aren't like dedicated Charlie pants. So the red cuffs that I've hand sewn onto my pants are starting to come off. And so every few steps, I have to like readjust them because they would start to come off and would like come under my heel and I'd be stepping on them. Eventually, I just ripped them right off. And I'm of course wearing these very uncomfortable high-heeled boots. And I'm just like, this is the most hilarious and stupid way that this day could end. Of course I have to walk home, right? Because I don't want to be waiting at a bus stop and, you know, in the middle of the night for like 40 minutes, right? So I'm like, okay, guess I'm gonna walk. So I'm hobbling there. I have to take a bunch of breaks because my feet just hurt so much. Again, it's at this point while I'm walking, it's like after midnight. I get home at around 12:30, but I did get home. Everything was fine. You have to picture me with this heavy bag of stuff, hobbling along in the middle of the night to get home. It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. And it was the result of just such a bad choice on my part. So the big takeaway of this story, please, big takeaway, please always bring a change of shoes. If you aren't wearing flat shoes and you're going to a convention, if you have any sort of heel on your shoe, please bring a pair of black flats. If the shoes are black, then they'll be able to go with anything. Obviously, if they're flat, they're gonna be comfortable, and flatter shoes are usually really easy to slip into bags. Obviously, I learned from this, and I brought flat shoes for the other 2 days of the convention. I did have to bring an extra little bag just to carry the shoes, but this was so worth it. And so I wore them when I was transiting to and from the convention, and then I just wore my high-heeled shoes to the actual convention. This was the best choice I could have made, all because of the horrible time I had on the first day with my very painful shoes. Please always do that. Always have a change of shoes. Even if you know a certain pair of shoes as being your comfy shoes, you never know. This is what I learned that day. It took me over a decade of cosplaying and making bad choices that I finally learned. You never know when your comfy shoes are going to betray you and just decide to hurt. So even though I thought that these were like my comfy shoes and I was going to be totally fine, that wasn't the case. So always bring a pair of flat shoes. That's what I'm being very long-winded about this, but please always just bring a pair of flat shoes. Please don't be hobbling around the convention and then having to hobble home at midnight. It's just not a good time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this very, very stupid story. I hope you guys learned from my mistakes, please. Again, if you guys are interested in checking out my charity t-shirt campaign, I will have links down in the description, as well as a direct donation link for Black Lives Matter. Please, please, please donate if you can. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out with me today. I hope I made you laugh, and I'll see you guys all next time. But until then, pan faces, please be sure to take care, and don't torture yourselves with painful shoes. Okay, bye.